We are live. Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the Wednesday HumpDay Rep Wrap-Up. I am Pooch, a.k.a. Repcord. Today with me, I have the infamous Joe Mike Terranella. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
I just resisted that urge to say tarantula as much as I wanted to, but I got it.
For you, you can go tarantula. We're going to call this the Italian Stallion Night.
It's Italian Stallion Night at 3D Printing World, and you know what? We're having a good time. We're continuing our Brews and News series on the agenda for tonight. Joe Mike's going to give us a little bit about his background, what he's been up to. We're going to talk about some Filament. We're going to talk about maybe some modding. We might get into some Last Jedi because we both saw that over the weekend. That was good. And anything else that might come to mind. And you know what? Every once in a while, Joe Mike, I like to just pull up the latest on 3D printing news and just scroll through and see if anything jumps out at me. So maybe, given our timing, we might jump into that at the end. We'll see how we're doing.
Sounds good to me.
Let me see here. Before we do this, because I was neglecting. I was told last time when Uncle Jesse was on that I was just way neglecting the chat, and we got to make sure that our audience is getting its proper recognition here. So
I'm gonna be the first to give you a thumbs up.
Oh yeah. Let's see here. All right. Mute that. Oh, look at that. Formlabs. It's got their ad running on there. I'm gonna skip my own ad on my own channel. Is that sacrilege?
No, I think it's like the congressmen paying themselves and then paying taxes.
Right now. See, I'm not here to monetize for myself. I'm gonna pop this out here, and Jay Flugum says we're calling you the new TMNT, the new TMNT. All right.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because that's what my logo looks like. It's all
I know.
on the stickers.
I know. I got them right here.
I still got a strip of them.
JM to the Junior Mutant Turtle. Wait, I didn't get. Oh yeah, you got the whole strip. See?
That's the uncut strip right there.
Yeah. You sent me enough to sticker my entire office here.
Dang straight.
But I got you going up on the board, so you're good.
My buddy John has a what is it called? A silhouette machine, and so he made those stickers for me. So I got a ton of them.
I'm not familiar with a silhouette machine. It's a vinyl though, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
And it's a vinyl cutter. That's all silhouette machine is.
Wow.
Pretty awesome. What am I drinking?
Right
well, I am drinking Tank 7, which is a local brew here in Kansas City from Boulevard Brewery. They ship across the United States. Tank 7 is one of their Smokestack series, which is one of the more specialized beers. So it's very special. I've been saving it for this occasion, and cheers.
Cheers to you, my friend. Here, I don't have anything quite that fancy. I just decided to go with a Shock Top Belgian White. I do like the Belgian White, so that is what we're drinking tonight.
Nice. We used to brew the Belgian White.
Did you now? Now you're a home brewer?
Once upon a time, when I was not married and had a roommate, we brewed in our house. That was pretty sweet.
Another life ago, eh?
Yeah, seems like.
All right. The tweets are out. We're making sure it's all official here, and it is. All right, you ready to dive in? Joe Mike, why don't you start us off by, first of all, just explaining to anybody who doesn't know who the infamous Joe Mike Terranella is, where you got your start in 3D printing, when you started your channel, the background, the history.
Okay.
Go.
Okay, so the infamous Joe Mike Terranella. I've never met that guy, but me. So my channel I actually started back in 2006, a long time ago, for I think it was a Transformer. I made a Transformer sing Mr. Roboto by Styx, and that's when YouTube was just getting started. And then I posted a couple of other random videos, and then YouTube sat dormant for almost a decade. But so the entry into 3D printing, I had this idea because my wife, she doesn't like to swap out toilet paper rolls on you know, the toilet paper holder.
Who does?
So yeah. The problem being though that at the house that we were living at the time, the toilet paper spring, the little tension spring, the actual roll holder.
Yep.
Anytime you took it off, one side went flying. So she never did it.
Yeah.
So just stacks and stacks of old toilet paper. The cardboard tubes were just stacking up in the bathroom. I was like, there's got to be a better way to handle this. So I came up with this idea to invent a toilet paper holder that used magnets to attach the toilet paper roll instead of traditional. And I was like, well, I can start drawing up schematics. I can have this tooled overseas, but it's going to cost me an arm and a leg. And I was like, wait a second. 3D printing. I've never tried 3D printing, and I think that'd be a good way to prototype. So I bought the cheapest, I hadn't joined any forums or anything. I just went onto Amazon. I bought a Hicktop Prusa. Didn't know what I was getting myself into. Luckily, I have electrical engineering background and a whole bunch of other just, you know, technology under my belt, or else I probably would have really hurt myself. But over the course of modding that, I got into like the BL Touch stuff like that, and then I noticed that there was a gap in information, and so I started making videos literally just to get information out. I didn't think about monetization. I didn't think about company or anything like that. I was like, I'm fixing this thing, making it better. There's a lot of people in the same boat, and I wanna help them out if they're having difficulty with it. So I started it that way. It really took off when I got into Folder Tech. So I got a Folder Tech FT5, and people were just having, you know, so much trouble with like T-nuts and the bed and printing on things, like different surfaces and stuff like that. And so I decided to start doing videos on that. As requested, people would just be like, hey, could you show me how I can do this? I was like, yeah, I'll just shoot a video real quick on it. Again, not thinking anything about a YouTube channel being, you know, a thing. Just that's where I put my videos to give them to people. That's how it was a repository for me.
Sure.
I don't know. And then one thing came to another, and I just started producing more content and started looking at the channel and being like, this is fun. And I have a lot of 3D printing experience under my belt now, and I feel confident to answer questions and talk about it as a semi-authority, not like as an expert. I'm not even close to being an expert on this stuff, but you know, someone who's been there, done that. So yeah, that's how I got into this weird stuff.
Isn't it amazing? Necessity, the mother of invention. Toilet paper, of all things, gets him into the game. Then the altruistic nature of sharing the information with the world on the new platform that was YouTube. So I mean, you're one of the OG YouTubers then. If you were a 2006, how old is your channel officially here?
Well, it was founded in 2006, so it's 11 years old.
That's about as old as they get.
Yeah, I mean, back in the early days, other than that Transformers video, I was heavily into paintball back then, so I modified a Titman 98, and I just like made it balls out, just with response trigger and this cyclone ball feed for rapid fire, and I demonstrated it on the YouTube channel and just dubbed it the Titman 98 help thread, so people could come in and ask questions on how I did the mods and if they were having issues with theirs. So that to date is still my most successful video that is now hidden.
You sound like you're cut from the same cloth in the sense that you have quite a few hobbies then, or have had quite a few hobbies. So you mentioned the paintballing.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Gosh, what not else?
3D printing, we know. What not else? Is that the shorter list?
I mean, yeah, I've gotten into, like, you know, drones, RC racing, you know, anything to do with electronics. So the kit boards, I don't know, just photography.
So your background is in electrical engineering, is that right?
I was raised by an electrical engineer, so I guess technically my background is in electrical engineering. because I was taught to solder when I was 5 and learned what Ohm's law was when I was 5. But I grew up right in that sweet spot where computers were just coming into households, and my grandfather, being in the position that he was in, had computers in our house when no one else did. So I got to build my first PC around the age of 6, and that kind of started that whole thing. So more technically inclined towards computers, but all the time electronics was, yeah, I learned electrical theory very early.
You knew that law before you knew like our general laws, right?
Yeah. No, I
laws. Yeah.
didn't know you couldn't murder someone, but I knew how to find out how much wattage I needed.
Yeah, exactly. So let's look at the stats here. You joined your YouTube channel. You joined April 26, 2006. 526,327 views, but who's counting? Videos. Let's see here. Let's see what the top. You told me. I mean, we're gonna go by most popular. So hands down, he's got 75,000 views on his Direct versus Bowden video. Now, yeah, that's not the. But see, you must.
It's such a weird one.
Uh-oh. Did I lose you? We back? You still with me?
You kind of cut out there. What'd you say?
Yeah, so it looks like we're getting good old internet problems. So, did you have a different channel from the JMT where your 3D printing channel was? I wasn't seeing the paintball stuff you were referring to. No, not good. Hold on a second here. Dropping bandwidth.
I kind of. Are we?
This is terrible, man. It's everybody's coming and starting to stream. Apparently, we're losing bandwidth.
I can still hear you. Can you hear me?
I got you now, but I'm like videos jumping in and out. Looks like more viewers are hopping on. I'm getting plagued by this this network neutrality nonsense.
We're being throttled because we're drinking.
I've been throttled. It's the FCC. That's right. Well, anyway, I was asking about if you had a separate channel or if it's always been just this one channel. I wasn't seeing the paintball stuff on your channel when I was reading the stats.
It's always been one channel, this channel, and paintball video and the transformer video are unlisted but still available. I'm probably not a mod in your channel here, but I can give you the links and you can post these links.
I'll mod you. Hold on. Guests always get mod privileges around here. That's a perk of being on the stream.
Excellent.
There you go. You're on there. So they're unlisted. You don't want just anybody finding that.
Well, it's kind of like one of those weird things where you go to a 3D printing channel and then all of a sudden, oh, what the heck is this guy? What's he doing with a transformer?
Pro tip: don't look in my back catalog because I wasn't smart enough to disable all that. My old stuff. I rebranded from an old channel I did on just how to in general that just has all sorts of weird nonsense on there, and I left it on there because people tease me about it all the time. But whatever.
There was a time there that this channel name was actually Professional Hobbyist. And that's all it was me going through all my hobbies. It was my idea to just go through all my hobbies and do random stuff. But I decided to nix it and just go with 3D printing. Okay, so in the chat right now, the first video I posted is the Tipman 98 video. The one that I think still... Well, actually, no. If that other one... How many did the Direct versus Bowden have?
You had 75,000 on that one, so you got that beat. The Tipman has been beat.
The Tipman has been dethroned. That is crazy. And that's funny that's my... Now, the Dork and the Transformer video has 73, so it's in second place.
Man, look at that thing. Rapid fire. Would not want to be on the receiving end of that Tipman.
And there is the Dork and a Transformer video. And that was in 2011. What was that? No, yeah, 11 years ago, so don't judge my hair, please.
Come on now.
For the fact that I actually had a lot. Mm.
If not me, who will judge? Let's see. Uh-oh. Oh, no, that's not good. I just lost the chat. Oh, well.
I've still got it. Nick's there.
Oh, but I've been wondering. It's so quiet on there. And now he's in.
He said
All
he
right.
didn't get the notification. Didn't get a notification.
Nick, I'm disappointed, man. You need to have your little dingy bell.
Hit the bell,
ring.
Nick.
Come on, Nick. Hey, okay, listen, before we get too much further in, I got to give a shout out really quick to Mike, NLMTW, never let the machines win. So you weren't on Friday for the Friday Night Hangout this week, but I don't know if you saw the unveiling of the new logo.
Me?
You.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
You were there.
I got to watch portions of it before I went to see Star Wars.
Okay,
So,
but you weren't on, right? Or maybe I jumped on after you were off, or I don't know. Maybe you were just.
I didn't participate, but I did watch parts, and I saw the logo. Actually, I got to see the logos prior to the voting, and his was one of my favorites. I hate to say that. I loved all the submissions, but his just kind of had that, wear it like a wrestling belt pop out to you.
I know, right?
It was nice.
Let's do a quick. I'm gonna do a quick screen share just right here. But hold on, before I do that, I better close down my email so people don't read my email and tease me about it. All right, share that.
Not singles in your area.
Yeah, exactly. Shh. All right, so here was the winning. Okay, are we present? Here we go. We are presenting to everyone now. This was Mike's submission. This is the new official Friday 3D Printing Community Hangout logo. It's fantastic. And as a result of being the winner on this, let's go back. He was the proud recipient of a spool of Filament, of course. And being the ever humble, non-confrontational Canadian gentleman that he is, he said, that's not right. It wasn't announced ahead of time. I wouldn't feel good about taking it. The shipping to Canada is too expensive. Every other excuse that he possibly could. And I was steadfast in my resolve to reward him for basically spending his time to do this, because as a design professional, as somebody that does web development and knows how much time and effort goes into graphic design, I said, hey, let me just send you some filament, man. I insist. He said, no. All right. If you're going to be this stubborn, then you need to pick somebody else that we're going to give it to on your behalf. And so he did. And so I am proud to announce that Mike has decided that the spool of filament that he won will be going to none other than the great Carmelo Nazario, the designer in New York City, in the hopes that he might do something completely awesome with it. So, Carmelo, if you're watching, congrats. I told him earlier it's on the way tomorrow, and we look forward to seeing what you come up with. But extra special thanks to you, Mike, for your generosity.
One talented guy there.
Class act all around, right?
Yeah, both of them are talented, Carmelo and Mike.
They're both very talented. Very talented. And sadly, Nick, the trash bags, the gray trash bags, were not in on the prize package on this particular one. We didn't want to undermine what Matt Weber won last week.
However, if you want some white trash bags, tune in for tonight.
Okay, are we throwing in white trash bags for tonight's giveaway then, Joe?
Tonight's wonderful giveaway are handy bags.
Are they the fourth flex? Are they reinforced?
Frick if I know, man. Just waste. They're like the cheapest bags I could find on Amazon, because this is where all my 3D printing waste go.
You just throw them in. That's for all the scrap.
Scrap goes in there. Some of it. I try to save as much as the large stuff as I can in hopes of one day recycling it. But like as far as all the paper towels I use, all the alcohol swabs I use, and anything that I chop up, it all goes in there.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Trash bags, the #1 giveaway now on RepCord, plus critical 3D printing supplies. So we'll see. So
#1 3D printing accessory right there.
Are you running any prints right now, Joe Mike?
I am not. Here's the funny thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's not true. I'm running a print at work. I've got 2 printers at work that are mine, and I'm running a print on the Joe Mike Tarantula. Now here I've got the MK2S, and the other night I noticed it wasn't printing all that great, so I decided to take apart the extruder and noticed that the brass hobbed gear was stripped. So I'm waiting for a hobgoblin to come to replace that. So I'm currently not printing anything.
The hob gear is brass on that? Is that right?
Yep, on the MK2 it was brass.
Wow.
And I did the upgrade to the MK2S. Since then, I do believe they equip it with at least a stainless one. At least that's the one that I can get to replace it, which I was going to replace it from Prusa directly, but it was $5.99 for the gear and $25 for shipping. So, no.
That's, well, let's see. Jeff's saying we got double audio. How's the audio sounding to you right now?
When I talk, I can sometimes hear myself still, but
that echo?
it's not terrible.
Let me bring down your levels.
Not horrible.
I'm
How about some of that Tank 7 for the giveaway? Yeah, you can have some of my Tank 7. Not.
I'm beginning to think people are just watching for the free swag here.
Free
They
swag.
just like us. They like us for our for our giveaway. But you know what?
That's fine. I mean, that's.
I don't blame.
I mean, you build your subscriber base by giving away free things, right?
Yeah, you know, it's all about the goodies. It's all about the stuff. Well, you know what? I'm happy to say, maybe I'm not. I'm almost embarrassed to say that the this is the first thing I've printed in probably a month now. But it's moving again, so that's I'm moving in the right direction. I decided I have zero Christmas swag. It's not swag. Christmas decor around here. And so I grabbed the Candy Cane Christmas tree, which is a nice popular one off of Thingiverse. And right now I'm finally running the cherry red that I got from Atomic, and I'm really excited about this because it is like seriously some of the most vibrant red I've seen. Like I feel like the pictures don't do it justice. Mike from Atomic likes to claim that if you were to just chop up like, you know, a meter worth of the filament in that, the amount of pigment that's in it would be enough to be a master batch for like any other people's filament. I mean, he just jacked it with this just cherry red, and it's I think it's gonna look awesome. So I got some of that. I got some Pet G from them, so I'm thinking maybe a spiral of little Pet G with a little PLA. We'll see. That might be interesting, changing up materials to see if it actually weaves together correctly. But
It should.
that doesn't work. Maybe I'll do another white.
Are you doing the one that has the more space in between, like a larger gap or the smaller gap? Because there's 2 versions on the.
This version is the V2.
So it's the thinner gap.
Version. So that's the bigger gap, right?
It's thinner. The original
That's
one.
a narrower gap.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. No, you're right. I got it backwards. V2. Here, I'll show him the pay. Well, whatever. The Candy Cane Christmas tree. Very popular, though. It's got a good following for Christmas. Yeah. Yes, it will be a tighter fit. So we'll see. I'm running it on a fat. That's a 1.2 on there right now.
Are you serious? A 1.2?
Yeah. And I'll be interested to see.
Is it 1.75 filament?
It is a 175.
So you're running 175 through a 1.2?
Yeah, because I'm crazy. It works.
Might as well just light it with a lighter and just start going around.
That is the tempo.
There you go. How does how does the Atomic Cherry Red look compared to the pictures you've seen of Proto Pasta's new Candy Apple Red?
I am hesitant to judge from pictures because I got to tell you, man, I feel like I've been burned too many times looking at photos thinking like, oh, that's incredible. And then you just get it. And it's just not the same. So, I mean, I would say that, you know, the photos looks great. The photos look great on this, but until I get some of that Proto Pasta and see it firsthand, I reserve to issue judgment. But
well, I know Chuck helped, I guess, craft it or something. But
I know he's a red aficionado. He likes his reds, right?
He's the red to Joel's blue.
That's exactly right. Maybe we'll get him on here one of these days. He's got a lot of interesting stuff to say.
Oh my gosh, the man is a wealth.
Yeah, he certainly is. Okay, so you were starting to give us a list. So you how many printers you got right now?
Well, I just sold a couple to make space for some more that I've got coming in. So I've got an MK3 that is slated for delivery tomorrow.
Ooh.
I don't believe that, but we'll see. And a CR10S, so the updated version of the CR10. So right now, I'm down to Monoprice Select Mini, my Castle Delta back here, the MK2S that's not working, and then the Joe Mike Tarantula at work.
That's a good segue. I want to talk about your Joe Mike custom Tarantula because you have done some serious mods to that. Now you're a modder, through and through.
Oh yeah, I can't leave well enough alone.
Right. Do you have anything that's still stock at this point?
I have not changed out the control board, so it's still running the MKS Gen 1.4. Wait, no, it's an MKS base 1.4. Interesting. And it still has the original frame.
Right.
And the original control panel.
For now. But
for now.
I mean, of all your printers, do you keep some that are just stock so you have your ones you tinker on, or do you just every opportunity you get to upgrade anything along the way you will?
So I tinker on every single. Well, I will say this: I haven't tinkered too much on the Monoprice Mini because there's not a whole lot of room to tinker unless you want to enlarge the bed and do all the crazy stuff to the x-axis. And for me, that printer just prints beautifully for a little 120 cubed printer.
Right.
So I don't want to mess with it. For something that I need to just print small stuff quickly and it's portable, I left it alone. It was my first non-kit printer. And then the other one that I really don't touch is the MK2S. Other than upgrading it to the S from the just plain 2.
Right.
And then I just added the BuildTak flex plate system to it. And that is it. That's the only modifications I've done to it.
With the intent that that'll now be interchangeable with the Mark III?
You got it.
That's money.
Yep.
I'm loving it. So you started teasing, and you've talked about this on Twitter and other social media, the board you're selling for the Mark III,
the Pi Zero W.
The Pi Zero. What can you tell us about that?
So the Pi Zero W, I've actually got one that I packaged up here. So if you order one, this is what you get. It's a lovely little white box. I went all out with professional as crap on this thing. I was like looking at MatterHackers and Printed Solid, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna MatterHackers and Printed Solid the crap out of this. You kind of open it up, and there's your box, and you get your Haribo gummies.
Yes.
In every box, and some JMT stickers.
How many JMT stickers? At least a handful, I hope.
Just 2 in those. I'm sorry.
Just 2? Oh, you're getting stingy.
I know.
But I like the Haribo.
Yeah.
They've become the de facto candy of 3D printing.
They have to be. They're the staple now. And they're seriously addictive.
Sorry, time out really quick. Do you think Haribo realizes why their sales have increased so substantially? Do you think they have? Has 3D printing had any impact on their sales? Do you think? Has to have had some.
Oh, I would think that through Prusa alone, that had to increase their sales an order of magnitude. And if I was the president of Haribo, I would be heading to Prusa headquarters and just being like, so, yeah, I just want to shake your hand.
Right?
Thanks for keeping us well stocked this Christmas.
I'm surprised. You think we're going to see more of this? Why more why aren't there not more, food producers pairing up with this? Because I think there might be something there. We're going to start seeing Snickers and stuff. Who knows?
Yeah, it's just weird that gummy bears kind of became the de facto of, or gummy whatever. Gummies became like de facto 3D printing snack. I think it was just like, we need to get these people a large amount of sugar in as small of a package as we can.
Yes.
Gummies. That's it, you know. So,
all right, pray continue.
No breading or anything else, just plain sugar, straight sugar. Which, by the way, while we're still on this topic, the Haribo that comes from Europe, so the ones that come in the printers that you get from Prusa, is different than the Haribo we get here, because the ones over there are made with sugar, the ones here are made with corn syrup.
Corn syrup, yep.
And there's a difference, and it makes me.
It's like our Coke and the Mexican Coke, right? Like the, you know.
Yeah.
Ingredients.
Shoot. So yeah, I guess for those who don't know, the Mark III has a brand new controller board that's based off of the Rambo Mini, except it's a new Rambo. It's called the Einstein, which is based off of Einstein's, named after Einstein. But one thing that Ultimaker did, not Ultimaker, Ultimachine? I forgot who manufactured the board. They added an aux header set that actually goes through the back of the board and allows you to take a little Pi Zero with some pins on the GPIO and actually just go straight into the Einstein. And it gets its power from the Einstein, and then it's got its TX and RX pins right there. And you just have to use one of these little 3D printed spacers to attach it, like that.
Beautiful.
So what I did was, knowing that, you know, not everyone out there wants to solder one of these, plus there is a good amount of configuration changes that have to be made to the image that goes on the Pis. You have to change your serial input or your serial connection. By default, the 2 serial pins on the GPIO header let you serial in to the terminal, the console for the Pi. So you need to change it to where it's an actual hardware serial port that Octoprint can utilize. And then on the Pi 0W and on the Pi 3, the Bluetooth UART is attached, or the Bluetooth module is attached to this software UART that is on the GPIO as well. So you have to disassociate those two. And that can be a little overwhelming for someone who doesn't have a whole lot of experience with Linux or, you know, this kind of electronical, man, this thing's already hitting. This kind of electrical, you know, manipulation, but.
Sure. And so are you pre-imaging it too? Like with so you're selling it with everything soup to nuts, so you're just plug and play once you get that thing.
It is, there are several options. You can either get well, first off, you can get a do-it-yourself kit for those who want to solder and mess with it, since Pi Zeros can be kind of difficult to come by these days. You can get the Pi Zero, and it comes with the headers, not pre-soldered, but break apart, and you can solder them yourself. Solder them yourself. And then it also comes with a 3D printed spacer. And you can either choose to get that kit with or without a pre-imaged SD card. Then I sell just the Pi with the pre-soldered pins and the spacer, sans SD card, so no SD card there. And then I also sell a version that has the pre-imaged SD card as well. And then I also sell a cable, because you can hook up a Raspberry Pi 2 or Raspberry Pi 3 via the cable directly to the Einstein board as well. But there are limitations to that.
And this is all in your Amazon store?
I don't have an Amazon store. I'm not fancy like you.
Well, I saw a link. You had a link, but then I tried clicking on it and it didn't go anywhere.
No, it's 3dkc.net is my website for.
All right.
Here.
You need to update the about page on your YouTube channel, because it's pointing to like an old.
Oh, that was my Amazon affiliate store.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not there.
Different. Okay.
Yeah, no, 3dkc.net, and then there's a little menu that says Prusa MK3 Pi boards.
Do
And
me a favor, throw it up in the chat there real quick, and I'll add it to the the show notes.
and I'll just do this. This is the
For anybody that's interested. Who out in the chat's already got a Mark III? Anybody? I know Lauren got one, so Nick by association. Let's see who else is on here.
they've got a Pi that'll be coming too as well.
Ooh, yes. Good. Yeah, Octo. It's like the new. I've been one of the things I've been not upgrading. I got the Pi for my my Delta, and I have yet to do that upgrade along with the Arrow. I wanted to do the Arrow upgrade on it.
On which one?
On a couple. Actually, I've got two Titans. I've got a set of on the big box. I've got just a standard Titan in direct drive, but I'm rebuilding that whole thing because I don't think there's enough airflow getting through, and I'm getting too many heat creep issues on my long prints.
Yeah.
Just because the carriage that was made for the custom setup, I think, is just too restrictive.
Makes sense.
So I'm reconfiguring that, and I'm gonna try going to like maybe a hybrid, like one Arrow and one Bowden. I don't know. We'll see. It's very rare that I'll do any kind of dual extrusion stuff anyway. So part of me is like, I don't know if it's even worth the effort, but we'll see.
Always worth the effort, if not just to experience a new thing or to learn a new thing.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Of course, you're right. But I'm really excited to be getting back in the swing of things. I'm finally getting stuff organized, and it's been slower going than so my closet's still in shambles. But I got power. I'll get some lighting in there. I want to get John from You Do It, the LED master. I want to have him consult on getting the thing tricked out, lighting wise, and then I think ultimately I want to have some here. I don't see kind of what I'm gesturing at here, but like. I basically just tore out the closet stuff and put a shelf in there, and I'm going to do like 2 levels of printers. So I've got a Mark III on the way as well. Although I was late to the game, so I'm not going to have mine until January. And then I've got a CR10, which I'm super late to the game on as well. But got to smoke.
Hey, you and me both, brother. It's okay.
You say you have one on order? You get a 10S or something?
Yeah, 10S, the updated one. It basically really the only difference is
the dual Z.
Dual Z, yeah.
And then you can do a height. You can do a Z height mod on that, can't you? Or like people do.
Yeah, and I know people do the dual Z mod on the original.
Right.
So I just went ahead with.
I spent some time tweeting about it, just seeing, and for the money, it seemed like it was a wash, and 2, people were like, the original's not really that bad as it is, so you can always upgrade it if you want to. But I got to tell you, going back to the idea of modding and the tarantula and stuff, one of the mods you did that I really was interested in was the fact that you inverted the Z-axis on it.
Yep.
And then you got a stepper with an integrated threaded rod, which. I'm surprised we don't see more of. I don't know if that's just a cost, savings thing or what, but you don't have to deal with the coupler.
Those couplers are ridiculous.
Hate them.
I mean, when the Z is on the bottom, when the motor is on the bottom, I mean, the coupler doesn't really impact too bad. It can, but not too bad.
Yeah.
Especially if your linear smooth rods are nice and straight. However, so the Tarantula, its stock setup is a single Z inverted, hanging down with one of those spring couplers. And I'm sitting there scratching my head like, who engineered this thing? Because it's bouncing right there. I mean, every time it makes a Z hop, it's going to like just a fraction of a little bounce.
Yeah.
Not intended. So I would consider that backlash, which is the enemy of 3D printing. So, yeah.
Exactly. And then you got an anti-backlash nut on it and all that stuff. Did you do that first and then, or did you just, while you were at it, you're like, I'll put this anti-backlash on here? And
well, the anti-backlash nut I had.
Okay.
So I used to have a Folgertech FT5, and it was the first one, and it had a lot of issues with keeping the bed from not doing the whole zigzag on the way down. So John Folger sent me a bag with the 2 anti-backlash nuts.
Yeah.
But what I ended up doing instead was doing a synchronous Z. So I just used a single motor and connected it with a belt like they're doing with the revision 2 version of the FT5 now. So I still had those, and I was like, well, I might as well throw this thing on there with this because I'm not going to use them anywhere else. So
yeah. Well, that thing must be printing really cherry now. I mean, you did some serious work on that Tarantula.
It is comparable to the Prusa now.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like,
and at what cost? Let's see.
Yeah, I added it up, and I am over the $500 mark.
Okay.
Had I bought the printer.
Yeah.
Now, GearBest was kind enough to send me the base kit, so that was a good chunk of the cost. But had I bought the printer, I'd be over the $500 mark, and I could have just bought an MK2S and built it. So, but again, tinker by nature, I enjoyed the process of something that didn't print well, and just slowly making it into something that when a print comes off of it, people go, "What the crap that came off of a tarantula?" And you go, "Kinda."
Inspired by a tarantula. That baby is custom now, that's for sure.
It was the frame of a tarantula.
Yeah. It's like you took a VW bug and then you drop like a Hemi in it. You get the idea.
Yeah,
but,
I got it.
But anyway, let's go back to Prusa for a second, because one of your initiatives lately, this is funny, is let's say attempting to inspire Dave Gaylord to say send you a Pulse, which is MatterHackers version of a Prusa, if I will, the i3 clone. What is it about the Pulse that's so intriguing to you that has you doing this?
Oh man, so how did the whole thing started? Because of Joe, 3D Maker Noob,
right?
And he posted a picture of a benchy that had come off of his Pulse, and at that moment I was like, a Pulse did that, and then I don't know what the conversation looked like from that point on, but at some point someone said you should beg Dave for a Pulse, so I started begging Dave for a Pulse. And you would not believe the amount of flack I've caught from various Twitter people from being like, dude, just buy one. I'm like, you know what? I could just buy one, but at this point, I'm just having fun.
You're pot committed at this point. It's like now it makes me wonder. Be like, now Dave Gaylord, he's a good guy, but I don't doubt that he could be stubborn enough to not relent.
You know what? That's okay. And quite honestly, I'm not actually begging for the Pulse. I don't really expect anything to come out of this other than some fun. So I am in correspondence with some other people at MatterHackers through email, and they send me emails. They're like, keep it up. This is great. We keep messing with Dave with your Dave facts, and it's awesome. The office goes crazy for it. I'm like, okay. So just the fact that it makes people's day is enough, you know.
Are you going to be able to sustain this for a year? Do you have a year's worth of ideas queued up?
No. No to the queue up, but yes to the be able to sustain it. I'm sure I can BS my way through that, figure out something. Half of them I just look around and I'm like, oh, that. I'll write a fact about that.
Half of them are Chuck Norris
ripoffs. There's a mixture of Chuck Norris facts and most interesting man in the world facts in there.
That's perfect.
A handful of my own creations, which
I love it.
A lot of my own creations will be coming out around Christmas time.
That's good to know. You got at least a couple weeks queued up, huh?
Yeah. I use HootSuite just in case I'm not able, because I have a day job and I stay pretty busy at the day job.
Right.
Just in case I'm not able to get one out, I have it all scheduled at least 2 weeks in advance on HootSuite, so I can keep them going. So when my grandfather passed away, they just kept going. And Dave was like, "Your commitment in this, man." I'm like, "Yeah, my commitment."
Thank you, autonomy.
Yeah.
You interwebs. Well, I believe in you, man, and who knows? You know, maybe he'll send you one. I want to say I had read at some point, or maybe I was talking to Mara about it, but Mara, that there's something about they have a software package around the Pulse or something special about them that if you have an array of them, or maybe it was the I want to say they had some custom software where for education where you could attach to it via your tablet or something to that effect. Do you know anything about that?
Well, I know that they have like built-in compatibility with Matter control.
Yeah, she definitely mentioned that. I'm just trying to, I want to say there was some other secret sauce to the whole thing, and I should have done my homework ahead of time before I brought it up, but
I don't know. Dave would have to send me a farm's worth of pulses for me to be able to figure that one out.
Now, well, and maybe that's the thing. So if he sends you one, then you have to start harassing him for a farm of them.
Yeah, and I'll let you know about it in 5 years.
Perfect. All right, man. Well, listen. Before we wrap up, there's two more things I want to do. I just want to get your thoughts. So you saw Last Jedi when it came out just this last weekend as well.
Mm-hmm.
Give me your thoughts.
Okay, so let me preface this with I am a hardcore Star Wars nerd.
Hardcore.
So I played the collectible card game in high school, Star Wars CCG. So
you're all about the expanded universe. You know the
man,
whole thing.
What we now refer to as Star Wars Legends. Yeah, the expanded universe. You know, Thrawn before Thrawn was made non-canon and then brought back in the Star Wars Rebels and so forth. So this is a perspective from a hardcore nerd. So I liked it. I really liked it. And I know a lot of people were mad because certain things either let them down from Revelations, certain Revelations let them down.
Right.
Or they didn't get answers that they were looking for, at least not yet. And I don't know how much I can talk without giving away some really significant things.
Yeah, we're going to do our best to not spoil here. We don't want to lose people with spoil.
Yeah, we're not going to spoil.
Yeah.
All I will say is I was happy with the way that the lineage worked out. I was happy with the way that Kylo dealt with the situation towards the end there. And I love the fact that the overall theme of the movie is about the balance of the Force and how, mankind came in and imposed so many rules through either the Sith or the Jedi, saying that the Force is this way, the Force is this way, and we have to do this, and this is how we use the Force. And eventually, Luke just finally realizes for himself, it's not about any of that. It's the Force is the Force, and it's about balance. It's about order. It's about life and death and what's in between, and about, so everything else that we cared about as nerds, like the rule of two with the Sith, it's like every Sith has to be a master and has to have an apprentice. Yeah. And it can only be that way. It doesn't matter. That's a man-imposed rule. And the Force operates completely on its own, and it doesn't matter. So the way this movie kind of comes in and washes clean, I came out kind of with a lighter chest without such a heavy burden. I'm like, you know what? I can enjoy Star Wars because I don't have to worry so much about all of the in-depth stuff, because now I just know the Force is balance. So,
wow, you really got to wax existential throughout this whole. You had a really cathartic experience in this whole thing. It sounds like. I mean, come on,
man, I've had to defend this movie to several people, and I'm just like, you were watching it with the wrong eyes. I mean, you have to understand where we are in the whole time frame. We don't know what happened in the 30 years from Return of the Jedi to Force Awakens. We have books that are coming out and comics that are coming out that are starting to fill in those gaps. But, you know, there's just a lot of things that they're like, how can so-and-so do that? And it's like, well, there were 30 years that are unaccounted for, so who knows? And you probably know what I'm talking about with that one.
Yeah. I think you did a phenomenal job there saying something without saying something.
Yeah. But, yeah, and just how, you know, so many people in the first movie was like, you know, Rey didn't even know about the Force until, you know, she found out about it, and then all of a sudden she took on Kylo Ren and beat him down. How could she possibly do that without Jedi training? And then the second movie just talks about the balance and how while one rises in power, another rises in power to balance it out.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, so it doesn't matter. It's just the way the Force works. Get over it.
I thought, okay, so Rian Johnson directed this one. It was, it was interesting to see. It was still produced by, blank.
Abrams?
Yes, J.J. Abrams. And, you know, I know that there was a lot of fear that, you know, when there was the passing of the torch from, you know, George Lucas and J.J. Abrams being involved with the new Star Trek and, you know, what that was going to do. But
there's a path to the dark side.
They did a good job. The writing was interesting for me. You know, I don't know. Again, without spoiling anything, I would say they definitely took more of a levity approach. There was a lot more comedic, a little more slapstick than, you know, traditional, and I feel like that got different responses from different people.
It wasn't as seriously toned as the original trilogy, but at the same time, I found that some of those comedic moments were just like towards the beginning when Poe was talking to the Star Destroyer, when he's talking to Hux.
Yeah.
You remember that part?
Yeah, no, that's
like I love that part. It's like
it's great.
That's Poe for you.
No, I think that people there are always going to be people that are critical and all that stuff, but it was, you know, for what it is, and given the fact that this franchise has been around now almost 40 years, you know, like that's pretty amazing. That, you know, it continues on, and I really enjoyed looking for the correlations between the original and this. Like, I feel like they drew a lot of interesting parallels with characters and themes and all that stuff. So I thought that was interesting. So I'll be excited. I'm going to go back and see it again for sure, and hopefully look at it with different eyes. When I go to a movie and I'm in different moods, I think that I observe different things, I feel different things, and this is definitely one of those things where I feel like it needs another look or two from me.
Yeah, I'll probably see it again. Although, just that first thing, and I know a lot of people really griped about the ending of it, and I thought the ending was pretty fitting. And I can't really say anything other than that without spoiling. So, but, you know, you almost have two endings there. You have the actual ending, and then you've got what you think is kind of the ending, but it isn't. So, but the part that you think is the ending, but isn't, is the part that I can't talk about. But that whole... So I will say this about... Last Jedi. So in the original trilogy, we got lightsaber fights that looked very much like old people whacking each other with sticks.
Right.
And then when we got the prequels, we got this whole acrobatic show that had no drama to it whatsoever. It was just nothing but, you know, and flips and jumps, and you're like, okay, but where's that tension, you know? Yeah. I really feel like that Rian Johnson caught the mix of the two perfectly. Just the great ability of these people with this weapon mixed with that tension and intensity and intentionality with the weapon. I just thought it was beautifully mixed, and I can't wait to see how they handle it.
I concur.
Yeah.
I like how you phrase that for sure. Well, listen, we're going to leave it here because it looks like we lost a bunch of audience as a result of fear around spoilers. But we didn't spoil it, so you guys are safe if you want to watch it. In the we were sensitive to it, but knowing the Joe Mike is a true fan of the thing, I always like to hear what the people that know canon by heart and everything thought of it. Well, listen, before we wrap up, I'm hoping why don't you give us a plug, let us know where we can find you, what your hashtags are, and all the social media and all that stuff. Parting thoughts.
Okay, so if you type Joe Mike into YouTube search, you'll find me there. My channel is pretty much just 3D printing at this point, and right now I'm in the middle of kind of a mix of doing the stuff with the Tarantula and trying to get back on track with the Filament series after being derailed like 5 weeks in a row. And the Filament series I'm doing with Anthony Tackett, who's actually in the chat right now, who owes me $5 because I did not spoil Star Wars.
Dude owes me $5.
He owes me $5 now. So yeah, you can find me there. I'm on Twitter as Mojike, and Instagram is jterranella. If you're getting an MK3 and you want one of these Pi boards, 3dkc.net's your go-to place for that if you want the pre-solder jobber. Other than that, I think that's pretty much where I'm at, other than Kansas City.
KC in the house. Hey, listen, thank you so much for taking the time tonight. We had a good old time. We shared some beers. We shared some brews. Let's see. What can we? What are you working on next? What can we expect? Do you think from you on the channel next time you get something up?
So I'm going to probably get a MatterHackers Filament video up for the Filament series.
We didn't even talk about the Filament series. Jesus. Okay.
That's okay. No, it's no problem. We'll talk about it now.
Okay.
So,
we'll do it.
Like that. Dadgummit. So I posted a bunch of pictures online of this spiral vase I did with MatterHackers Pro PLA. Yeah. And, I've been wanting to do the video on their Pro PLA for forever, and just things keep popping up and popping up. So look for that. Yeah, that's coming. And then I'm probably going to do a video on how to at least solder a Pi Zero W for the MK3. I know that sounds counterproductive since I'm selling them, but at the same time, I'm very much like an open source, open hardware kind of guy. So if you feel brave and you want to do it yourself, then I want to prepare you in the best way possible and give you the best steps you can take to be successful at it. So,
well, I'll tell you something. As somebody that knows how to solder but doesn't want to solder often, I can appreciate that you're willing to share, but then for people like me that are like, it's probably not worth my time, I'm coming to you.
I gotta stand up because someone said I don't have a Kansas City shirt on.
There it is.
Boulevard, Kansas City Brewer, sucker, and sweatpants.
You just got told.
Take that, Matt.
Really quick, tell us about how the Filament series is going. You're up to what, 20 different filament manufacturers now that have sent you stuff to test?
Yep, I've got a stack of filaments to test still. We're going to be condensing several of them. Like we're going to do all the wood fills in a video, all the nylons in a video, and all the flexibles in a video. So we won't go through the individual brands with those. However, we... so you're saying that... No, I don't owe you jack squat. But yeah, so about 20 different manufacturers now, and we'll be doing a video. We're going to keep it the same. I know you asked me earlier when we were talking off the air about kind of how we're going to conclude the series, or if we're going to have like a wrap-up type deal. Yeah. And no, we're not.
Open-ended.
Yeah, so it'll be kind of one of those things where if we see a filament that is new to the market, we'll probably pick it up, or if they're willing to send us a sample, and we could do a quick video on it. And you know, I said from the beginning that I'm not going to be like Thomas. I'm not going to give you like the material properties or the strength properties or anything like that. I'm just going to do what I always do and just kind of tell you how to dial it in. So
run it. It's okay. More of the pragmatic approach. You're not about the numbers here.
I'm more about, you know, like, here's the temps that best printed for me on this printer. Here's what I had my bed at. Here's what I printed it on as far as like glue, PEI, blue painter's tape, glass, whatever, you know. And these are the results I had, or any issues that I had printing this filament, or any special considerations, like toner, plastics, PLA. You have to lay down the first layer real slow compared to most other PLAs. So. You know, stuff like that. Just little notes here and there that if someone was curious as to how that printed, they can come by and take a look. Now, if they're curious about material properties, they can look at data sheets, or they can do Tom's channel if Tom did a video on it. So I'm not big on repeating, you know, what other people do. I try to fill in gaps or expedite.
I think that's a smart play. Anything jump out at you just incidentally about, like, you know, surprises or trends between filaments, or, you know, anything that just struck you after having run so many different materials? Or
well, I will say that just through my entire 3D printing experience, not just with the filament series, it still I don't know, it still kind of befuddles the mind how some colors print differently than other colors, and they're the same filament. So like how I take Hatchbox, for example. So Hatchbox black prints like a friggin' dream. Hatchbox white can be nightmarish sometimes. Hatchbox green is the stringiest, goopiest filament I've ever messed with, even over all the PTGs I've messed with. And Hatchbox red, I have not gotten a successful print with yet.
Wow.
But
really?
I haven't tried to print with that for a while. And it could
I can't say I've found anything that dramatic color-wise. I mean, I've definitely seen variance in stringiness, but I haven't run a whole lot of Hatchbox, so, you know, I believe you for sure.
Yeah, and then past that, it's only tolerances. Like, you know, you would find some of the more craft shop filaments have more wild tolerance variation than something that is massively produced, which is odd.
That always struck me as surprising as well, because I would think
there'd be more care in on it.
Correct.
Yeah, but I mean, I know they get thrown under the bus a whole lot, and I don't want to. I'm not one of the people who likes to throw them under the bus, because 90% have success and like their filament, but Maker Geeks, I've gotten a couple rolls in the past that I swear the filament went up to like 2.5 and just stopped. You know, it was like a swell in the extrusion when they were pulling it off of their filament machine, and it just stopped the print once it hit the hot end. So since then, I kind of keep a closer eye on the Maker Geeks, and I haven't had that issue in a long time. But I still like their filament just fine.
Yeah. You feel like in the future, I feel like we see interesting approaches. You know, it's like ideally people are like, well, it's worth paying for a premium filament because you don't have to worry about the tolerances or the roundness or all that stuff. But then we're starting to see technologies now that will better accommodate variance and tolerate. And there's I don't think you listed anything that jumped out at me that has a filament sensor. Well, the Mark III will, but there's actually some open source sensing stuff where it will try to compensate for variance in extruding for
the dynamic extruder multiplier.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Really, I mean, so with that kind of tech on a printer, you don't have to do your caliper measurements down the length of it and then average it out. Right. But I'm talking about usually really bad rolls, rolls that are just bad batch. Yeah. Other than that,
2.05 is way out of tolerance.
Yeah, it's way past your 0.05 or your 0.5. But I will say that with the upper echelon, the higher end filaments, so like the Pro series from MatterHackers and you know, Proto Pasta, you know, stuff that you pay a little bit more for, I've found that you get what you pay for. The tolerances are great, they print great, the material properties are great, but on the same argument, or on the other side of the coin, I should say, Ziltech sent me a box full of ABS, PGG, and PLA. And if you're not familiar with Ziltech, their filament is like 12 to 15 bucks a roll per kilogram. And I printed with their gray, and number one, it's one of the best color gray PLAs I've seen in that price range. And two, the tolerances were great. And three, it printed great. So, and that's from a $12 spool of filament. So
I gotta tell you, man, I've run a lot of different, you know, I have different suppliers I've used for different things. I've tested a lot of filament, and it's one, there's a real race to the bottom going in terms of like price, just, you know, in the 2 years time, well, a little under 2 years time. Thank you. Anthony just gave me $5. I think I won the $5.
What the heck?
But what a guy. Much appreciated. Anyway, I was gonna say, like, I've run a lot of stuff, and one, pricing's coming down, so it's interesting to see, but two, like, consistency over time is what will win the war. And it's like anything where, you know, any printer manufacturer can cherry pick and send stuff that's been prefab, and, you know, I don't know, in your case, I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but you may end up getting some great batches from Ziltech, and then it's like Maker Geeks. I've had the same experience. I've had really great stuff from them. I have bad, and so it's like, unfortunately, the bad stuff leaves a really bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you've ever extruded filament before, you realize, like, there is a lot of variables that go into, like, doing that and doing it well and consistently over time. I mean, you know, that's not an easy thing to do. So it makes me wonder, one, if filament's really even the future of the tech. Like, if this is going to turn into something else down the road, I think that's
like a pellet-based system, or
pellet-based, or maybe resin comes more on, you know, or who knows.
Resin's messy, though. I mean,
yeah,
it really can get messy, especially if you get into the larger resin printers and you're having to deal with larger vats.
Right.
That can get real messy real fast. And resin in its liquid form is nasty.
Yeah, and, you know, and then even once it's been cured and all that stuff, its durability over time isn't as good. And, you know, there's not necessarily. I mean, I don't claim that anybody has any kind of perfect solution. Like, you know, what we're doing 10, 15 years from now may be nothing like any of this stuff, right? You know, we don't know. But who knows, you know? It's always interesting. I like thinking about.
I like to see sintering come into a more consumer space.
Yeah.
Because right now it's very commercial, and the things that I've seen sintered on a commercial level just seem amazing. Like metal sintering is just awesome.
I mean, the powder base that they use for that, I mean, that's not clean either.
Oh. Those guys are wearing masks, and they have little tiny brushes and brooms, and you got to vacuum up everywhere. But if they can figure out a way to come up with a box that's self-contained, you know, at that point, all you need is powder. Powder's easier to clean up than resin. I will say that. You can vacuum that crap up, but resin, if it gets on you, like, you're done.
You're done.
You're done.
Melted. You're gone.
To the west.
Well, listen, man, I really appreciate your time tonight. I think we covered a lot of ground. I'm really excited to hear how your store does with your board sales, and see more from you on your filament series. That's always fascinating to me. And, you know, we cross paths on the Friday night stream and stuff. So best of luck to you. I want to thank everybody out in the audience for joining us tonight. Thank you for joining us this Wednesday night. I hope the rest of your week goes well.
Oh, real quick, I will say before we go, with the filament series, even though I'm not ready to start shooting videos on a lot of these brands. I have been printing with some of these brands, a lot of them, just to kind of get a feel for the filament. Yep. I started printing with Ripcord filament the other day on the Tarantula, and
it's not a plant.
It is really a good PLA, and that blue, I'm telling you, I didn't think I'd like a baby blue, but dadgummit, that baby blue won me over. Yeah, that stuff is great.
Here's a little known fact. It's matched to my eyes.
Well, maybe that green is matched to mine. I haven't tried it yet. I haven't looked yet.
I'm glad you like it, man. I'm glad you like it.
It's pretty good.
I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Well, thanks for sending me to play with it. Sending me something to play with.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how this comes out. I'm not liking what I'm seeing right now. I feel like I'm getting a little skipping or stuttering or something going on in my tree, so I'm going to have to analyze. I think I might have some loose belts or something I got to go deal with. Anyway.
Did you say you were micro-stepping?
No, not on this setup.
Is this 1/16th?
I believe it's 1/16th. I don't know. It uses a Roomba clone, I think, on it. Now you got me. Now you put me on the spot.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No. I should know that.
Go check your voltages.
What's that?
Go check your voltages.
I will check my voltages. That is a good tip. I'll check that on my steppers. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it, and hopefully we'll catch you. We're gonna be off next week because it's Christmas break, and we'll be gone. But Merry Christmas to everybody, and hopefully we catch you in about 2 weeks, maybe just prior to, what are we talking about? What's 2 weeks from today?
Like Mike? January, man.
January. We'll be in the new year.
Hold on, let me look. I can find out. Now you're putting me on the spot. I don't do dates and stuff.
Wait a minute. I thought you were my personal assistant now. You don't have my calendar open? What are we doing here?
So next week is the 27th, and then it's the 3rd after that.
Yeah. So that's on the. We'll hit you back up in 2018. Hopefully, have some new stuff to show off. Get some things settled in. But until then, everybody, have a good night. Make on.